friends. I hope you're doing good. Happy Wednesday. I'm excited to be here as always, and I've really enjoyed chatting with you guys live this week. I was actually talking to some, my mentor and a few other ladies that are also health coaches today, and we all really love doing live videos, although they make us nervous every time. And one of the ladies has been doing it for a very long time, and she says, I still get a little uneasy in the pit of my stomach. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's just kind of like same as it is with group fitness classes. I always get a little bit nervous each time before I teach. Even after doing it for all these years, I still get a little nervous that I'm gonna make some crazy mistake. So that's one thing I want to talk to you about. It's the internal dialogues that we have with ourselves and how big of an impact they make on our lives. The internal dialogue, if you don't know what that is, it's the things that you say to yourself day in and day out, the things that you say to yourself ever. But what happens is the ones that we say to ourselves the most often are the ones that take over. They're the ones that make things happen in our lives, right? Our internal dialogue actually gives us the results that we want, or it keeps us in a place where we are. It either helps propel us forward or it stops us from going forward. The things that you know you want to do, you know you want to lose weight, you know you want to keep it off, you want to get more toned, you want to have more energy, you want to feel good, and you want to be confident in your clothes, you want to have those uninhibited, intimate moments with your partner. We all have this list of things that we want, and then when we go along and we try to do all the things that we know we're supposed to do, we miss a workout, or we eat, something happens and the lunch that we packed didn't work out, and now we have to eat out and we made a bad choice. And so then the internal dialogue takes over that, oh my gosh, you've already failed. You told Rebecca on Sunday that you decided to exercise this week, and on Tuesday you only exercised for 5 minutes before you gave up, or you didn't even try, or you've already failed. And so there's no use trying on Wednesday because this week's already a wash. You've already messed up. That is an example of an internal dialogue that keeps us stuck, that doesn't push us forward. It's called a thought distortion. So I want to really ask you, I want you to be thinking about the things that we have decided and talked about earlier this week. The thing you decided to do, the thing that I'm looking at my notes over here, the thing that you decided to take action toward, the discipline that we talked about yesterday that it takes to do it, even when you're tired, even when you don't want to, even when something else comes up. If that thing is truly important to you and your 3 reasons are big enough, then you will find a way to do it. But the thing that's going to stop us is the internal dialogue. Those things that we truly believe about ourselves and the things that we are telling ourselves every day. So the way that you speak to yourself, I'm sorry, I'm getting right in it today, and I'm going to probably tell you a couple stories along the way. I'm actually not sorry. I'm getting right into it today, and I'll tell you some stories along the way. Correct my statement. So how you speak to yourself and the thoughts that you're thinking reflect the beliefs that you have about yourself. And the words that you're actually telling yourself are either being supportive and helping you reach your goals, or they are doing the opposite, stopping you and stealing your confidence is what they're doing. So what are you saying to yourself this week? You chose something on Sunday, and you can use that, or you can use the other goal that I told you to start thinking about. What is your bigger goal that you want to conquer? What is your thing that is holding you back? A lot of you have actually reached out and told me, my goal is I really do want to lose 50 pounds. One lady told me, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm ready to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to start with the 12-week program and I'm going to lose 20. But my goal is I'm going to lose 50. I don't need to lose 50. I am going to lose 50 because she needs to, right? So I was like, oh, that's great. So let's take that for example. Some of the thought distortions that she was having already, and we talked about these yesterday, are, who are you to try this? That's what came up when she wrote down her goal and her reasons. She said, who am I to try this? I've tried programs before. I have tried to lose this exact same 50 pounds more than once before. Why am I even trying? I am a lost cause, was something she said to me. And I hear these a lot, but those are the thought distortions that steal her joy, keep her from reaching her goals, and really just keep her unhappy in a place where she feels like she doesn't have the tools. But she does, So how you answer these questions and how you attack them when they arrive is really important. However, in order to tackle them, you actually have to be aware of them, which is what we touched on earlier in the week when I talked to you about the behavior chain. What day was that on? We talked about, I think it wasn't it yesterday? It was Tuesday. When we became aware. I'm looking at my schedule over here. We did talk about becoming aware on Tuesday. And the behavior chain. So once you start, often you have to start with the feeling. What am I feeling? I'm feeling defeated and I haven't even started. Well, why do you feel defeated? Well, because I'm telling myself that I've failed at this more than once and I'm going to fail again. Oh, well, we got to change that. So what are we going to do this time that's different? How are we going to change that thought? Well, I'm not going to fail. This time, I'm going to be willing to do the work. Because I asked her, what didn't work last time? Well, it wasn't something that was sustainable. It was too strict. Okay. What else do you think contributed last time to it not working? Well, I didn't do all the things. Okay. This time, what is going to be different? Well, I'm going to be willing, Rebecca. Like, I'm willing to do the work. It's that important to me now, is I'm willing to lose 30 minutes of sleep, or I'm willing to let go of this so that I have time to meal plan. I'm ready to stand up to my friends and tell them that I'm not that same person anymore. I was like, oh, those are great. Those are definitely things that are going to help you be successful this time. That if you didn't have those last time, yeah, you totally needed those. And so by the time our conversation was over, she was like, I can do this. I was like, I know you can. I know you can. So, how you answer the questions and the things that come up, how you attack them is, how it's going to end up playing out in the long run, right? So you have to be aware of how you feel so that you can go back and figure out which thought is actually causing you to self-sabotage. before you even start sometimes. Most likely, if you were to say the thought out loud, you would never repeat that thought. This is my true test. If I think something in my head about myself that I would never say to my kids, or if I think something in my head that if someone said that to my kids, I would punch them in the face, because that's not really who I am. But when it comes to my kids, they said something like that, I'd be like, who do you think you are? And I am the most non-confrontational person in the world. So I run it past my kid test. And if you don't have kids, think of someone who you really love, that you don't want anybody to hurt their feelings and you don't want anybody to hold them back. Say that thought, thinking of them, out loud. If you don't dare say it out loud, then you should not be thinking it. And we got to find something to replace that thought with. So here's the deal. You have to truly believe that you can achieve the thing that you want. You have to truly believe that it is for you. You can't do it thinking that, well, so-and-so did it, so maybe I can too. You have to know that it's for you. So I can sit here all day and get on these videos, and you can watch every one of them, and I can tell you that you and your body were made to move. Your body was made to feel good. You were meant to have energy. You are meant to play with your children. You are meant to live a happy life. You are meant to experience exciting things. You are supposed to feel comfortable in your skin and have wonderful intimate moments with your husband or wife. You are supposed to have those things. But if you've never had those things, or if you believe those things are not for you, then it is going to be impossible for you to get them, because you won't accept them. Okay? So you have the things that you believe are going to be things that you can achieve. Okay? Now, you can't get crazy and think things that are complete lies. I told you this the other day. You can't just make up something that's a complete lie. They need to be truthful, and they need to, because your body knows, your brain knows, like, well, that ain't truthful. You gotta either teach your brain that it is truthful, or you have to pick something different, right? But if you truly believe that you can have fitness, if you truly believe that that you can give up the medications, if you truly believe that you can lose the 20 pounds, that you can feel good in your clothes, that you can have the energy that you crave, that you can play with your kids, that you can get down on the floor and you can get back up. If you truly believe those things, then why don't you have them? Because why? There's plenty of resources out there that will help you get those things. There's a ton. You can find all the people talking about all the things. There's lots of resources out there. But the thing that they don't tell you is that the bottom line is a large part of the reason you don't have it is because you don't actually believe that you can. And there's things that are holding you back from believing it. Something inside of you believes that you're not worthy of it. Well, I've tried it over and over. It's never worked for me before, so it's not going to work for me this time. I'm just not worthy of getting that. Something that's not safe for you to have. Maybe you feel like it's something that it's not safe. Or it's just not for you. It's not how you were made. It's not in your DNA. That's not how, my whole family has been overweight, so I'm overweight. Somebody told me years ago that I would never be able to lose the weight, so you're not going to be able to lose the weight. somebody, you had a relationship or have a relationship where somebody constantly tells you that's not for you, eventually you'll believe it. You'll start telling yourself the same thing. Oh, well, maybe I can't do any better than this. Maybe every relationship is like this. Maybe I've had a hormonal imbalance my entire life. Maybe I have to be on this medicine forever. Or maybe you don't. The problem happens often is when we start to define ourselves by the things that are actually holding us back. So you know these people, or you may be one of these people that has been defining yourself. This is when I lose friends. Has been defining yourself by something, by an imperfection, something that is holding you back. Well, I have and do work with clients who are on medications. They work with their doctors, they work with me, they always run my program past their doctor. And they take medication and they tell their doctor, I want to get off this medicine. And the doctor says, okay, then these are the things that you need to do, and we'll keep evaluating. And sometimes I have had a client who eventually told me, I can't do it. I just can't do it because this is who I am. And I'm like, the medication's not who you are. Yep, it is now. This is me. It's not going to change. There's nothing I can do about it. This is me. I was like, oh, okay. And to me, that makes me sad, because you're not meant to be on medication for your entire life, the whole rest of your life. You're 35. You're not meant to be on medication for the rest of your life. Your doctor even said you could change it around. She's like, nope, I'm done. I'm over it. Okay, if you change your mind, you let me know. So we want to make sure that we're not defining ourselves by those moments or those things that maybe we've been told or thought for years. We definitely don't want to define ourselves by those things. What we want to do is we want to define ourselves by the person that we want to be, by the person that I talked about earlier in the week, who we're actually becoming. Because we can't reach any goal ever without change. We can't reach any goal without growing in some way. So when you reach your goal, you're not going to be that same person. You're going to be different. So the different person, the one up there, the one that's reached the goal, that's the person that you want to be truthful to. You want to aim toward that person, not the person you were last week. All right? It's really important that you recognize that you're not defined by those. And it's also important that you recognize that there's lots of different strategies to choose from, but what you want to do is choose the one that works for you. A lot of people, they come to me and they say, hey, I want to work with you. And when I tell them about my program, they're like, I don't want to work with you. I was like, okay, that's fine. My program's not for you. But then there's people who are like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for something like this. You can teach me how to eat intuitively. And you can tell me that most of the time a broth-based soup is like a really good choice. So I can make that choice on my own. Well, I can. I can. So you can be successful with a lot of different things. And you can be successful with a lot of different things short term, but it'll only be short term if you don't have the mindset to come along with it. If you get the long term mindset, like my friend Mark and his wife Lisa, they've been doing keto for years. You guys know him, he's in this group. He's been doing keto probably longer than anybody else that I actually know in person who is like solid. They stick to it. It works for their lifestyle. It works for their taste buds. Like, they can totally do it. It helps them sleep better. He can tell you all the things about keto and how it works for them. And when it comes to keto, he has a very long-term mindset. But I can also tell you a bunch of people who do keto for like a week here and a week there, and it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work for them. It's actually caused them problems because they're not actually sticking to it. They don't have the long-term mindset that goes along with any program. So, you can be successful, but you got to get your thoughts in order. You've got to get your internal dialogue, saying the things that you truly believe and the things that you believe about the person that you're becoming, not about the person that you used to be. All right. If you truly believed that you could have what you want, then you will do the things. You will exercise. You will drink the water. You will eat vegetables. You will learn more about it. You will learn the difference between a protein and a carbohydrate. You will probably learn how those affect your blood and how they affect your energy levels. If you want to reach your goals, you're going to learn all those things. So that is what we're doing this week, is I'm teaching you how to be aware and decide and know the behavior chain and realize that the actions, the results that you're getting aren't there. So what action are you taking to get those dang results that you don't want? And how do you fix that? How do you become aware of that? So I got a little bit off track there because I got kind of excited. I want it to become part of your new identity, part of your identity that you want to have. The thoughts, all of the thoughts going through your head need to be pushing you toward that goal. And when you come across one that does not, it is usually a thought distortion, and you want to kick that one out. So I want you to think about a couple things. First of all, you've been thinking about this goal. Some of you have told me about it, and I want you to continue to think about it if you haven't yet. I want you to set a SMART goal. If you don't know what a SMART goal is, you can Google it, or you can ask me about it personally, or you can ask in the group, and I can give you some information on how to set a SMART goal. But specific, measurable, all these things that it needs to fit. But if you set that SMART goal, and I want you to set one, I'd like for you to set two, really. But one that's like a longer term and one that's a shorter term. So like a 6 to 10, 12 weeks, something like that goal. And then a maybe 6-month goal. But not so far out there that you can't reach it, okay? Well, you can reach it, but it's just so far out. I want you to do like a medium and a short term, okay? And I want you to answer these questions. I want you to answer, do I actually believe that I can have what I want? Do I actually believe, I'm sorry, 1 second. Do I actually believe I can have what I want? Do I actually believe I can maintain that success? And do I believe that this time is going to be different if you've done it before? If you've never tried it, that's fine. If you have tried it and you have failed, I need to know, do you actually believe that you can do it this time? If so, what is different than the last time? Okay? I want you to be able to speak confidently about it. I want you to tell me what it is. You can post it in the group. You can, post it in the group. Post your goals in the group and answer those questions below, if you will. I'll post it too, so that you can just put it in the thread underneath the post. So I want to remind you that the toughest battle is this mindset battle that you're going to encounter. And if you want to win against your mind, the trick is, like I said, recognizing that your brain is tricky. Eating a cupcake is not going to ruin your entire day or your entire week. People do not think that you are weird if you order a salad. If they do, that's their problem. These are thought distortions that people tell me regularly. I don't want to order a salad because then people at work will think I'm on a diet. Well, why don't you just tell them that you really like fresh vegetables? Because it's none of their business how you're eating, and you're being a good example to them. The people, I work with this one lady who travels a lot, and she doesn't always have access to a gym. So I told her, I was like, get a jump rope. Take these few tools, jump rope and a band and a couple other things. I told her, I was like, take these things with you and I can give you workouts based around these 4 things. And she's like, people make fun of me. They don't know how to put the workout routine together and they wish that they did. So they're not making fun of you. And she's like, no, they're making fun of me. I was like, that's what you think they're doing, but really they are admiring you and your dedication and your willingness to do that before you go into a work meeting. They admire you. So thought distortions are things that are your brain trying to convince you of things that are not true, okay? And they do show up regularly in certain ways. All or nothing thinking is a way of self-sabotage that a lot of my clients have dealt with, and I deal with on a regular basis. You might hear it all or nothing. You might hear it black and white, like there's no gray. Basically, you categorize things into 2 categories, good and bad. And often they are things that you've been told your entire life, like pizza's bad. But truth is, pizza is not bad. And if you want it, you should have it, but you should have it in moderation. And you should know that pizza is not a diet food. It's not even a diet food if you make it gluten-free, cauliflower, and you still put your pepperoni on it and your cheese. It's still not a diet food. Most of the time, it's still not a super solid, healthy thing unless you're covering it in vegetables and not the cheese. Usually it is a treat, okay? Pizza is a treat, but that doesn't make it bad because treats are good. We should have them. But sometimes a salad isn't always the best thing to choose because it's covered in candied pecans. You know, you've got to know when something is a good choice, and when you're ready to have something that's solid, healthy, and when you're ready to have a treat, because treats are fine, right? I think I just said good and bad in there, but you know what I mean. So another thing is mind reading is how a thought distortion can come up. So I want you to really be aware of these so that when you're encountering them, you can be like, Rebecca, I'm having this thought distortion. Mind reading is when you predict what someone else will say. So I am very non-confrontational. And if I know there's some sort of confrontation that is possible in my future, I will basically do this mind reading thing. I've gotten out of it in the last few years, but I've been known to do this mind reading thing. I'll stay up at night thinking about all the possible things that might be said and how I will stand my ground, right? And you just don't know. So it's a waste of time. It steals your happiness, it steals your joy, it steals your peace, and you need those things. Unhelpful rules are a way that thought distortions will creep in when you have to adhere to such strict rules that it starts to mess with your progress. Things like, this one is a big one. Oh, I have to finish everything on my plate. Why? My dad said I had to finish everything on my plate or it was wasting. You are 35 years old. You don't have to finish everything on your plate, but it's wasting. I promise you, if your belly's full, it's okay. You can put it in another container. You can eat it tomorrow for lunch. If your stomach is full, you don't have to eat everything on your plate. That's one I deal with often. Justification. I deal with all these often. What am I talking about? People come to me with these all the time. Where you link two unrelated things to justify a decision. When we justify, I can have the double-decker chocolate cake for dessert because I had a salad for lunch. I can have the, 6-pack of donuts because I didn't have them all week. Justification. You link things that really aren't related. Often I get this, the sweet man that comes to my cycle class, and he works super hard, and I mean, he kills it, and then he goes to Bojangles afterwards. Hard. Well, I work so hard so I can go to Bojangles afterwards. But that's not how it works. That's not really how it works. Oh, okay. It's justification. They don't really relate. Another one is delusional thinking. And it's when you convince yourself that you don't really believe about, you convince yourself about something that you don't really believe to justify a decision. This piece of cake doesn't count. Basically that's the one I get a lot. This doesn't count, right? Because it's my birthday. Well, it is your birthday, and if you want cake, you can have it, but it does count. Like, that's when we get into the food logs. People tell me, that didn't count, right? I licked the spoon. You licked the spoon of honey. It does count. And exaggerated thinking is another thought distortion. When you just make a situation into much bigger than it actually is, which this one is a big self-sabotage. I had the vendor at work came by with Krispy Kreme donuts. I had a donut. My day is ruined. I have my kitchen story from earlier in the week. I woke up and the kitchen's wrecked. My day is ruined. I will never be able to catch up to the day because now I'm having to take care of yesterday. So I'm going to be frustrated and on edge, and I'm going to be shaking like this for most of the day because I had to clean up the kitchen first thing this morning. Well, the truth is, that's not really what it has to be. Like, bite the bullet, go in there, clean up the kitchen, take care of it, and move on, right? It's not really that big of a situation, although I like to think it is sometimes. That's where it comes in. It's a thought distortion. Recognize it and move on. Don't let it ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your week. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow, you're still going to be doing the thing that you promised. If you missed a day, that's fine. You're still going to be doing it tomorrow, okay? I want you to recognize these thought distortions. Post them in the groups. Like, oh my gosh, this happened to me and I was having this thought distortion, and it's black and white thinking, don't you think? And we will tell you if it is. We will let you know. I wanted to say something to you guys that we're constantly learning about ourselves, and the more awareness we can have about ourselves is truly key. And this training is getting long, but I really do want to go over this with you because it's something that's been on my heart today, and I can't even decide which story I want to tell you. But learning about ourselves is so important. Becoming self-aware, aware of our thoughts, aware of our actions, aware of our results, and the things that we don't like about wherever we are, we can change those if we believe that we can and we decide that we're going to. All right? So the first time that I ever remember learning something about myself, like looking back, this is the first time I learned something about myself that I can remember, is I was in the 4th grade. And my sister, so I have an older sister and a younger sister, and I have a brother that I never actually lived under the same roof with, but he's younger. And my older sister was a few years ahead of me in school. So when I got into the 4th grade, which was middle school where I grew up, she was in the 7th grade. So I had a whole year with her. I was in 4th going into the middle school, like the newbie, and she was basically the senior, you know. She was the 7th grade getting ready to go into high school in the 8th grade. And that is the year, 4th grade is the year that I became Sarah's little sister. that is the year that all the 7th graders knew the 4th grader because I was Sarah's little sister. And so I held on to that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing. These people actually talk to me when I'm waiting on the bus outside to go home. They know my name, sort of. They know I'm Sarah's sister. They don't know my name. So then I go into the 5th grade and I'm like, I have got this down. My sister's now in high school. I still know all the people. These teachers had my sister. They like me. And I was like, 5th grade is wonderful. Well, a new kid came in to school. I think she was from Chicago. And this is something I know about myself, I am friendly. I am easy to get along with. I am basically the welcoming committee. I want to know your name. I want to know where you're from. I want you to feel welcome here. I don't want you to sit alone at lunch. So I'm going to be this girl's friend. And so I go up, I introduce myself, start to get to know the kid, at least to the best of my ability in the 5th grade. And I remember this. I wanted to be her friend. And then she wasn't like being my friend. She actually wasn't even nice to me. And I went home and I was having a really hard time with it. And I remember talking to my mom about it. I was like, I don't know. Like, I welcomed her. I made sure she, I actually introduced her to people. And my mom's like, okay, I'm not really sure. So I asked her, why don't you like me? And you know what she said? I don't have to. That's what she said to me in the 5th grade. I remember it. Why don't you like me? I don't have to. Oh my gosh, but I am friendly and nice. And that's when I learned that you don't really everybody doesn't have to be your friend. So I learned that about myself, even though it was ugly. And I remember crying over it. And I think, like, in my head, I'm like, don't you know who I am? I'm Sarah's little sister. If you were here last year, you would know that. Like, people like me. I'm easy to get along with. I am going to always be there, right? But then I learned something else about myself as I got a little bit older. When I went into the 8th grade, which was high school where I'm from, I was Sarah's little sister still. I was still Sarah's little sister. And I actually got 2 years with her because she was a junior when I was in the 8th grade. And then I got to be there for her senior year too. So I got 2 more really good years of Sarah's little sister. So the high school people, even the staff, knew I was Sarah's little sister. And so it was great. Like, I was taking some of that identity with me, right? But I learned something during my high school year, I don't remember what year it was. It doesn't matter anymore. But my parents got a divorce while I was in high school. And it was my sister's senior year, I'm pretty sure, something like that. And I was entering a beauty pageant. And I had to write the profile. And if you know, that's the thing that they read when you're like walking across the stage. This is Rebecca, daughter of so-and-so and so-and-so. She is from Coburn, Virginia, and she enjoys spending time with her sisters, jumping rope, riding bikes. She's a cheerleader for the school team, like that thing. I had to write that. And I remember having this like breakdown, a teenager breakdown on my mom. What am I supposed to write on this? You guys are getting a divorce, and I'm supposed to write, Rebecca, daughter of Terry and of so-and-so, and Larry of wherever he lives. I was like, what am I supposed to write? And she's like, calm down. That's not who you are. Just write about who you are. And I remember thinking, well, I don't know. I'm Sarah's little sister. And that kind of continued on for a little while until college. And when I moved to Charlotte, nobody knew Sarah. And I still hadn't quite figured out who I was. And so every experience I became more aware of who I was. And until finally, I was Rachel's big sister for a while. But then finally people like knew my name, and I started to have my own identity and become aware of my thoughts and who I was, and love where I came from and love where I'm going. But you have to be aware of yourself, but not just aware of who you are now and the thoughts that you're having now. Like I said, you've got to look toward the future and always be increasing your self-approval. You want to always approve of yourself going forward. Oh, I'm going for this. I'm going to approve myself for this. Because listen carefully, once your achievements outweigh your own sense of worth, you will unconsciously engage in self-destructive behavior. You will unconsciously behave in it once your achievement outweighs your worth. Once you have achieved whatever it is you want, you're going to get comfortable there if you haven't made yourself worthy of it and decided where you're going next. You will start to self-destruct. It happens. So you want to commit to yourself. Have that self-commitment that it makes you go after the things that you want and continue to do that. You got to be able to give it everything that you have. You want to give it a good go. So you want to be aware, you want to be approved, you want to be committed. And then you will reach that fulfillment that you're looking for. Once you believe that you can, then you develop a passion for it. It's hard to have a passion for something that seems so far away. You have to believe that it's for you, and then you develop a passion for it. Then the strategy that you choose becomes something that you're supposed to do, and it becomes something that you're going to have the courage to do. It's not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act in spite of the fear that you might have. So you have to be willing. You have to be willing to do the things that you know you're supposed to do. You have to be willing to say no to people. You have to be willing to order the salad if that's what the best choice is for you. You have to be willing to act in spite of all the things that are trying to hold you back. You have to be willing to sit down at the Thanksgiving table and tell whoever is important to you, I'm not going to have the pecan pie. I know it's your specialty, but I actually don't like it. So I'm not going to have it. Stop pressuring me. It might be something like that. I love pecan pie. I want you to live with the happiness, the peace, the joy, the fitness, the wellness, the lack of medication. I want you to live with those things that you want. And do those things, you have to believe, and you have to get the discipline and the willingness to do the things necessary to get there. Once you have those things, you gain new standards. The beliefs that you have become your values that you hold and the standards that you live by. Raising our standards makes us better people. And think about all the positive things that you're achieving along the way, because there's going to be hiccups. But if you can take the hiccups and be like, oh, well, I had to have that hiccup so that I can do such and such, so that I was able to recognize, oh man, I gained 2 pounds last week. Why did I gain 2 pounds last week? Oh, because I did this and this and this. Well, now you've learned about those things and you can move forward. You can lose those 2 pounds and you can continue on your journey, right? I had another story I was going to tell you, but I'm not going to today. Basically, that's what I want to tell you, is you have to continuously be aware of your thoughts, and your goals need to be always ahead of you. Don't get there and reach them and not know what to do to continue development, because you've got to continue developing yourself and your worthiness, and continuing to notice your thoughts so that you can move forward, because we're not supposed to stop growth. Like I said, if I had stopped growth back in high school when I graduated, I would still be thinking I was Sarah's little sister and there was nothing else for me, right? I love being Sarah's little sister, by the way. You got it. Growth. Who are you becoming? What is the goal that you want to achieve? What are you willing to do to get there? What are the steps that you need? What are the things you need to believe about yourself so that you can do those things? Maybe you need to believe that you're a morning person. Maybe you need to believe that you can not hit snooze. Maybe you need to believe that you're not those things that that person said that you were. You're not lazy. You're not ugly. You're not big boned. You're not those things. Who are you? And what do you want out of your health? Because that's what this group is about. But what do you want out of life? I want to know.